Hey there, Smith here from Minute Maintenance coming at you. Today we're going to be working on this 2006 Saturn Ion front-wheel drive that's been giving the driver a hard time. She's hearing a lot of a howling type noise, almost like a pack of wolves. Ow! When she's driving at highway speeds. We're going to show you how to properly diagnose this vehicle. And spoiler alert, it's a wheel bearing. I'm going to show you how to diagnose a wheel bearing on a vehicle. Stick with me. You gotta get some maintenance done. So when it comes to wheel bearings, most people think to listen for like a grinding noise, because when the bearing seizes up, finally, it's at its final moment of seizing, you will hear like a grinding noise as the engine is forcing that wheel to spin, causing the bearings to grind, a metallic grinding. Or people know to hear for like a clunking type noise, because the bearings become, one bearing breaks off, it becomes uneven and sort of wobble back and forth as you're driving, so you'll hear a side to side type clunking noise. But lesser known is a howling type noise, like a pack of wolves. It's literally like that as you're driving down the road. And no matter what speed you're at, as far as RPMs shifting down or up, if the noise doesn't change, you know it's not engine transmission related, because if the engine transmission are causing the noise, when the RPMs shift either higher or greater, the noise should change either louder or quieter. Same thing with the tire. If it's a tire related issue, the noise will stay consistent the entire time you're driving from 0 to whatever speed, because the tire doesn't change. But when the wheel bearing gets spun and heated up to a certain amount from all the spinning, that's when the noise kicks in. So we'll get this car moving. You're not going to hear the noise, then you can hear the noise kick in. It'll be very distinct. You'll know it when you hear it. All right, we're going to get going here. We're not going to hear any abnormal car noises. And then we're going to hear that howling noise kick in at about 30 miles an hour. You hear that hum? And it's going to stay exactly the same. So when the engine shifts here, the noise isn't going to get any greater or lower. RPMs just shifted, engine got quieter, hum stayed exactly the same. Hum stayed exactly the same. And now we're slowing down, and you can really hear that humming going on there. That's a wheel bearing. Another way to figure out, to just solidify in your mind this wheel bearing, is to jack the car up and actually spin the wheel in question that you're having issues with. And we're gonna head back to the farm, take care of that right now. All right guys, once you have the vehicle jacked up, and now I always like to, on any vehicle, try to find a solid connection on the frame when it comes to jacking onto a vehicle. Now they have particular jack points that they designate, they mark, like this little marking right here. That means you're supposed to jack right here on what they call the pinch weld. But look how rusty it is, guys. I hate pinch welds. Those are one of the worst designs when it comes to jacking on any vehicle. I always have to go somewhere a little more solid, like on the frame, or somewhere on like an engine mount if applicable. But right here we're on the frame. What you want to do is chalk your back tires. My wheel chocks are missing. Don't hate, it works. Sometimes you got to improvise. It is what it is. Use my kid's scooter. If everything goes well, then the scooter will be just fine. But I'm not crawling underneath the vehicle. No one's climbing in and out of the vehicle. So this is just for a quick 1-minute demonstration for you guys, so not that big a deal. But the reason you want to chalk is because it's a front-wheel drive vehicle. You want to put the car in neutral, okay? So I got the car in neutral. Can't use the parking brake because that'll lock it up. So wheels chalked, vehicles jacked up, cars in neutral, and we're going to spin it, okay? We're going to spin it to see if we can hear any strange noises. It should be a nice, smooth transition the whole way around. Let's see if we hear anything. Okay, I can definitely hear towards the end there. I don't know if it's coming through the phone. Maybe it's because where I'm holding the phone, my hand is blocking it, but I can definitely hear the wheel bearing not moving very smooth, and I can hear the wheel bearing catching, and it's at the very end, once it gets to like the top spin there it is, a bit of a squealing noise. That howling noise is starting to kick in. So the road noise we were hearing was definitely wheel bearing related. So that's how you diagnose a wheel bearing, guys. Another thing you can do when you want to diagnose a wheel bearing, if you're having the clunking related noise, if you're having the grinding related noise, you'd hear that for every revolution right there, because it's the howling and it only picks up around 30 miles an hour. Obviously, I'm not spinning it at 30 miles an hour. I just chipped a nail, son of a gun. Spinning at 30 miles an hour, so we're not having that distinct noise that we heard on the road because of those constant revolutions. But I can hear it once I give it a good spin. I can hear it at the very end of that Price is Right, hitting that 100-point spin I'm giving it, Bob Barker style. Okay, but another thing you can do if you're having the clunking related noise is you can grab a hold of the wheel and rock it back and forth, trying to rock the wheel. If the bearing's loose, it should rock side to side like that. The bearing's not loose on this one. It's just starting to seize up, and that's why we're having the howling noise. So we're not having the back and forth rocking, but we are having the howling noise. So we know it's a bad bearing. We know that this bearing is particularly bad. So next thing to do, order the bearing, get it swapped out. And there you go, guys. That's how you diagnose a wheel bearing on almost any vehicle. There are going to be three more most common noises you're going to have. You're going to have the grinding for sure. That's almost indistinguishable from anything else. People are going to hear that. They're going to know that right away. You're going to have a clunking noise. People can recognize that as well, especially when you're making turns. That's going to cause the wheel bearing to shift side to side a lot more. So you're going to have that clunking noise. People can pretty readily diagnose that. But when it comes to the howling noise, people mistake that for tires all the time. All right. If you think it might be your tires, you can jack up your vehicle and even rotate the tires. If it's a tire noise, when you rotate it, the noise should follow the tire. That's how you know it's tire related. If I take the front left tire, move it to the back right, and my noise goes from the front left to the back right, you know it's tire related. In this case, because the noise didn't change with speed revolutions, because the noise wasn't 100% from 0 to 100 miles an hour, it couldn't have been an engine related issue, otherwise RPMs would have affected it. Couldn't be a tire related issue, otherwise 1 mile an hour would cause the noise to pop up. It was only once you start getting towards those normal operating speeds that the vehicle finally started making those noises. So that's how you diagnose a wheel bearing, guys. Tune in next week and I'll show you how I actually swap out the wheel bearing on this particular vehicle. Pretty simple process that anybody can go through. If you have any comments or questions or anything that you guys do when you diagnose anything on a vehicle, drop those below. And as always, guys, find a minute out of your own day to do some maintenance. We'll catch you next time.